So fuck yes, welcome out to the Happy Media Host. Always Brian Joseph. With me as always is Jonathan Hardesty. Hi. Chewie Darso.
Hi.
Emily Blake is back.
Hello.
I don't know how long Emily's been gone.
I've missed 3 episodes.
Definitely a month.
But the way that I've been releasing them, I'm not sure what order they're all coming out because we've been double recording to prepare for Chewie's and mine baby.
I've missed 1,000 episodes.
Yeah, so it could have been like a whole bunch, or it could be like 1 or 2. It's been I don't really know.
It's been 3 or 4 Facebook pictures.
Yeah,
since.
who knows?
I'm really bummed about the fact that I missed the last round so I could get dumped.
Yeah, that wasn't the best choice.
Never missing a podcast for a boy again, everyone.
And then this week, although not sitting as a co-host, she's still back. It's Sam Garrison.
Hello.
Hi, Sam.
Hi.
Yeah, it would have felt a little weird not talking Thor without you.
I know, because I brought it up, and I think every one of the 4 podcasts I've
you brought this one up a lot, and usually you're the only person other than Chewie who agrees with me that the Thor movies are the best movies.
Yes.
Because they're fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Well, no, I really enjoyed Thor, but
Ooh,
the
that
best
fell apart real
ones-
fast.
I have to actually think about that because I don't remember. I've never actually chosen which I think is the best Marvel movie.
I'm sure we'll get into this on the next episode.
Yeah, we'll get in there. Oh, that is this episode. Thor is
Yeah.
right now.
Oh, I thought we were doing the Tomb Raiders first.
No, that's what Tom. That would be
Thor
nice.
is happening right now.
Oh, shit.
And
My
for
notes are backwards.
For the sake of this podcast, Thor was, it was later because Tomb Raider's coming out first. I don't really know. The whole double recording thing is really fucking with my brain
Time
at times.
travel.
Come on, honey. We watched so many time travel shows.
Yeah, and all I remember is Wibbly Wobbly.
So today's episode is Wibbly Wobbly.
Wibbly wobbly 1.21
Part
gigawatts.
of that works into one of my criticisms of this movie.
Wibbly Wobbly?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so we'll do actually, here we're going to do a quick round of plugs first.
At Galifrey One, I made a bunch of 13th Doctor coats that became pretty successful, and one of the pictures went kind of viral. And now I'm taking commissions. If you are a cosplayer, I'm really knocking out those 13th Doctor coats. But I can do other things as well. If they're fabric based, I don't really do styrofoam or any of that prop shit. But I have a website called EmilyBlakeSews.com, and you can get me to make you an outfit, and you give me money, and I will give you something to
You'll
wear.
be beautiful.
And you will be, especially if you want to be the 13th Doctor. I really mastered that shit.
It was the little girl picture that went
Yeah.
viral, right?
Yeah, that's my coat. She's wearing it, Little Piper.
That was really awesome.
Those are cool.
She's adorable.
Very cool photo.
That's Katie York took that picture.
Awesome. Anybody else have something to plug in the front here, or should we move on to what we've been doing?
Plug something that has nothing to do with me, just because it'll annoy you a little bit.
Let's do that at the end of the episode then.
Nightwish.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that at the end of the episode. Okay, so you can talk about that and where have you been doing, which is going up first. You want to talk about that?
Sure.
All right, where have you been doing? What have you been doing, Chewie?
Well,
What have you been playing all morning?
Nightwish. Because I am a huge fan of the symphonic metal band from Finland, which I know just saying that loses a lot of people.
No, it doesn't.
There's a few people who just hit skip 30 seconds on the podcast.
They are an acquired taste. They are they're epic. I mean, they legitimately deserve the word epic. They're not just that because people want to make themselves feel important, but their music it envelops you, at least for me, when I listen to it. It's like a full body experience. It makes me think of sword fighting, princesses, dragons, all those things, and in really amazing ways.
Very on topic for today.
Yeah, and I was very sad that with the whole being preggers and things, we can't spend too much money, and they're playing in Anaheim soon, so with all the cost of going out to see them and the tickets and everything, I settled on purchasing their new box set, Nightwish Decades, which is a compilation of the last, few decades of them being around. I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful box set. I got the vinyl. They also have the CDs and such, and it's beautiful. If you're a fan or interested in getting into this type of music, you want to listen to an opera singer backed up by a heavy metal band, they're a great intro band for that.
I'm not a huge fan, but that box set is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Those tickets might be your shower gift just because I desperately want to go to a metal show with a
I
pregnant
think
lady.
they're sold out.
Yeah, you'd have to StubHub it or SeatGeek
Yeah.
it.
I will find a way.
Life finds a
Don't-
way.
Yeah.
At this point, if you're going to spend that much money on us, we need more baby stuff.
It's not about what you need. It's about my need to go to a metal show with a pregnant
It's
woman.
not about you. It's about her.
Yeah.
Mine will be very, very fast. I replayed Mass Effect 1, and it is still fucking incredible. And that's it for me.
How about those elevator load times?
They didn't bother me then. They don't bother me now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a hater.
I didn't say I was a hater.
I'm not saying you are, but
Okay.
people are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't give a shit about it.
A hater on what?
People got really mad about stupid things because they're gamers and idiots. It's like, I have to wait for my game to load. How dare I? Oh, I don't give a shit. It's still a great game. People can calm the fuck down. That's it for me.
Amen.
Next.
I'll go. I've been watching Queer Eye on Netflix.
So good.
It's so good.
I've been seeing a lot of Facebook posts about that in a way that I was not expecting.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. One of the girls at work recommended it to me, who was like, she scares me. And when she said that it made her cry, I was like, well, now I need to check this out. And I am so glad I did. It makes me cry. It makes me laugh. Jonathan and Tan need to be my new best friends. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's just so neat to see people connecting in what seems like really sincere ways. And it's been cool, too, because as I've been watching episodes, I'll see what actually happened to the families afterward. And, like, the one where they redid the house for this family with 6 kids.
Oh god, that episode gave me so many horrible feelings.
So it's gone a little bit beyond what the original series did. It's not just a makeover show anymore.
No, they, like, are redoing houses. They're helping. They're connecting with people. But because they redid the house, the family was able to sell it and actually move into someplace nicer.
Oh yay!
Nice.
Yeah.
That dude needs some sleep.
He needs some
They
sleep.
I was
flipped
really
their house
horrified.
then.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
helped
basically.
him flip their house, and I believe, I need to double check the article, but I believe he's down to 1 job.
Oh yay!
Yeah.
He was getting 2 hours of sleep a night.
Oof.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
dead.
you would be dying.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It was
Brian
really
and
sad.
Brian and him would have things to talk about.
Yeah. I'm running on very little sleep today.
Yeah. And
It's gonna
did you
be
take your sunshine pill?
Nope. I'll take it later. Oops.
Welcome to After the...
Now, none of the... yeah. No, I'm fine.
Tell us what you really think about Thor.
None of the original Fab Five are in this one, right?
No.
It's all new guys?
It's all new guys. They're
So-
really charming, except for maybe Anthony. I don't believe he can cook. I'm also not totally convinced he's gay. I think he's just an actor.
He is. We just talk about that at one point.
We
about
ran
he
out
doesn't
of-
like to.
I think he's just a decent
But actually,
actor.
that's one of the things I like about it. Is I like it how there's this runs the gamut. It's like the hair and makeup guy is like really like on the one extreme of
Yeah.
what it is to be gay, and
He
then
wears the
like
kilt and
Anthony
an
is like on the
off-the-shoulder
other, you know, and
Yeah.
they just sort of all have like these in between levels.
Yeah, and like Karamo too is kind of,
Yeah.
I guess, super masculine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Except for his silk bomber jackets. I love those.
Next.
As I mentioned before, I went to Galifrey One like a million years ago now. And it was really, really fun. That's the annual Doctor Who convention. If you've never been and you're a Doctor Who fan, you should go because it's fucking rad. It's really small. It's at the LAX Hilton. And so this year's the first year that I stayed in a hotel, and I spent one night. The other 2 nights I passed out in the room because one night killed me. I spent one night with this guy named Sean just wandering all over the hotel and just going to each individual party and stopping in, saying hello, having one drink, then going to the next party. So, but anyway, the point is Doctor Who, not parties. Kind of. But lots of cosplayers. This was cool for me because this was the first time that I'd seen other people wearing my stuff at an event. People bought my Halloween costumes and then wore them, and I never saw them in it. But I kept running into people who were wearing my costumes, and they all took a picture together. It was really cool. And I also was on a panel that we had like 12 people in the audience for, which was kind of sad, about filmmaking. And it was about fan filmmaking, and our main point was don't. So
I mean, it's true. I never watch any fan-made films
Yeah.
like that.
But yeah, it was a really good time. Lots of Doctor Who stuff. Saw David Bradley and Sylvester McCoy was there. It was and Rachel Talalay, who's an American and a woman director of Doctor Who, who's worked on a lot of episodes.
She did one of the best episodes of Peter Capaldi's
she is
entire run.
Fabulous. And she talked openly about feminism. There was also a really good feminist Doctor Who panel full of women where they just were open and honest, and it was a really cool.
Was Jodie there?
Jodie was not there.
Damn.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, Sylvester McCoy, I think, was the only doctor who was there.
They have a lot of problem with the
Oh, I
American
guess David
Doctor
Bradley's
events.
a doctor now, too. Sorry, go ahead.
So they have a lot of problem with the American Doctor events getting the doctors to show up.
Yeah.
They do sometimes, but it's
Yeah.
not. Like WonderCon, they had all of them confirmed at one point, and then by the time WonderCon showed up, they'd all dropped out.
We had John
that was
Hurt
at
last year.
WonderCon. That was when we went to Kamikaze.
Oh, that's Kamikaze?
Yeah,
Okay.
we waited in line for 2 hours, and then we got to them there, and then she said, "I'm so sorry, everyone. No one came."
Oh, Stephen Moffat was there this year, and he was really talking to people. And at one point during one of his panels, the girl got up and went, "I mean, I just noticed that sometimes Peter Capaldi seems like a dick." And Stephen Moffat was like, Speaking of dicks, why don't you try rephrasing that question and asking it in a more polite way?
Woo!
Yeah, he was not fucking having it. And to his credit, because people are giving him shit left and right, and he's like, nope, you're going to be polite to me, or I'm not going to answer your questions, which I appreciated.
I will be polite to Moffat, but I would always meet him and go, why couldn't you actually kill anyone?
That's an excellent question. No one asked that.
Kill your babies.
Just let someone die.
Let someone die.
John, do you have a where have you been doing?
A very quick one. I started playing Nier Automata.
Ooh, you took that plunge?
Well, it was the only disc that arrived in GameFly. I had a huge queue, and they're like, this one isn't available, this one isn't available. Oh, you can get
the
this one.
weirdest games on GameFly. Like, I want a game that'll take me 150 hours to beat.
What?
Yeah. No. It's more like games I'm not ready to commit to.
That's a real commitment with
Yeah.
Nier. That's why I haven't played it.
Well, I started with it, and it's interesting. I'm only like maybe an hour in, because of course I fell asleep while playing. Not because it's boring, just because I stay up way too late.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's time to talk about Thor.
Thor
Ragnarok, to be specific. If you couldn't guess from the episode title that you downloaded. Okay, so this movie came out in November, about a week before Justice League, which was a fun time for comic book fans, or horrible, depending on who you are. This movie cost $180 million, ended up making around $850, so I would say it was a success. Disney probably enjoyed that. It got a cinema score. It was an A+, I think, and I was going to read a review, and I figured we're probably going to be on the more positive side of this movie, so I was going to read a negative review. And then when I got to the negative reviews, all I found was a bunch of the same old bullshit responses and one extremely racist review.
Not just racist, it was also anti-Semitic.
Yes, it was also
How?
anti-Semitic.
They said that the Jews watered down Norse mythology.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
And I was like, what?
yeah. If you want to find it,
Not Norse mythology at all.
No.
you can find that review on Metacritic. I'm not going to name them or give them the time of reading it, but it's.
How do they feel about Wonder Woman in the Amazon?
don't
I'm
know.
guessing they didn't like it.
Greek mythology. Jews did a number on that. The women ruined Greek mythology.
Yeah.
If they, Gal Gadot's Israeli too.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't know.
I'm sure they weren't a fan.
Oh,
So instead of doing that, we're just going to skip it, and we're going to move right into a 30-second breakdown. So this week, since Sam's no longer
I'm
a
creeped out
co-host,
by the do you want to move that head that's behind her?
He's fine.
He's actually been there the last couple times.
Okay.
who, Feifel?
No.
The marshmallow head.
marshmallow
It's
head.
freaking. It's kind of freaking
It's
me
ki-
out.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, but I
Yeah,
kind of
since-
like that too.
Yeah, since Stay Puft doesn't have pupils, it just looks like he has black voids of eyes.
It's very much a kill me now look.
And he's on the bear. It looks like you've got that on the bear's body.
Weekend at Bernie's Bear Edition.
Like he
Sooner or
cut
later,
his
I'm going to
head
put a
off.
man in that suit, and one of these days, people are just going to freak out. Oh my God, it's alive! It's going to be great.
Instead of man bear pig, it's man bear puff.
That's a really good joke that no one's going to hear because I'm going to cut this out.
No, leave
Just
it.
throw it in at the end.
Okay, Sam, are you ready to do a 30-second breakdown of Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Okay, so 30 seconds. Oh, sorry. So Thor Ragnarok in 30 seconds. Here we go, 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 go.
Okay, so Thor defeats this like Balrog looking motherfucker, comes back to Asgard, realizes that Loki's posing as Odin, calls him out, goes to Earth to find Odin. Odin dies, but not before telling them about their shitty long lost sister. She comes back, she breaks Thor's hammer, she knocks them out of the Bifrost on their way back to Asgard. They both end up on Sakaar, Thor and Loki. She goes and takes over Asgard with the help of Karl Urban and his guns. And Thor has to fight his way off of Sakaar as a champion. He meets Hulk, they defeat Hela, and they win. Bye-bye.
Yeah, there it is. I decided not to show Sam the timer, so I was seeing how that would go. Then I told her the last 5 seconds, and she pulled it through. It was pretty fantastic there at the end. I was going to look for the timer. It's in front of me. There we go. Okay.
There we are.
There we are. Are we ready to talk about this?
Thor.
Thor, the lightning.
Thor
lightning
and
god?
Loki. It's Loki and Thor
It is.
in every movie.
It's the gun show.
Yeah. Welcome to the gun show.
It would be weird for me to
Oh,
actually
I
see a
wish
Thor
that-
movie without Loki.
I would be anti-gun regulation if that was a gun show.
Cutoffs for everyone.
Oh, I don't look good in cutoffs. It's not a good idea. I wear them every day. 'cause
It's
they're
your
my
right.
undershirts, but
in
yeah.
the Second Amendment.
It's my Second Amendment right to wear my cutoffs and show my weird-looking arms. Okay,
You're not taking those guns away from me.
so to start with Thor Ragnarok, I feel we kind of have to start with Thor 1 and 2 a little bit. because this movie is very much its own movie.
Who on the table liked them?
Yeah, that's actually a good place to start because I know I love Thor. I think it's one of my favorite Marvel movies. I love Kenneth Branagh. I like what he did with it. I thought it was great. I love Thor 2, and I know a lot of people don't, but like that one for me, like they're kind of in the middle. But then the beginning and then the last action sequence about London is just incredible.
Thor 2 is dope.
I
And that
love-
last action sequence kind of sells it.
Yeah, like that's I've been rewatching all of them to get ready for Infinity Wars. When I got to that last action sequence, they're jumping through portals and there's a random monster that's running. Like this scene is just fun.
Mirror.
Yeah,
Give me
but
I miss Darcy.
yeah,
Yes.
a little bit.
Why couldn't we keep her and just get rid of Jane?
Natalie Portman.
Oh my God.
goodness. She's so bad.
So
Her character in the second movie, her character is so useless.
oh my god,
Why is she
she's a
there?
plot point.
She's a
She is an
damsel.
object
Yeah.
in the second movie. But okay, so that's where I came from going into this one. Was I really enjoyed this franchise going into this one? What about everybody else at the table?
I didn't love the movies as deeply as you, but I definitely enjoy them. There's some of my favorite moments in any Marvel film happen in the first Thor film. I think that's where, to me, the comedy of Marvel really shined, was in that.
Beyond just like Robert Downey Jr.'s natural like
Yeah.
charisma, yeah.
It's
But
nice
it's
to
just-
see what happens when you have real actors not like finding a way not to undercut themselves with the jokes, but to integrate the jokes into because they're the best acted movies in the Marvel
Yeah.
franchise, barring none.
I agree.
Except for Natalie Portman.
Yeah, but
Natalie Portman doesn't care as much.
Yeah,
she
but
cared
Renee
more in-
Russo's so good. Anthony Hopkins is so
Yeah.
good.
I mean, it was so poorly written for her. I can see if she maybe
She-
wanted to phone it in a
She
bit.
cared more in the first one than she did
Yeah.
the second one. But
She had a better role in the first one.
absolutely.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
more of a role. But
Yes, okay,
what
that's a
I
good
was
point.
saying, I lost my track of thought again. But the comedy from Marvel worked the most for me in the first Thor movie, and ever since Avengers, they've just kind of gone off the cliff with their humor and don't know how to hold themselves back.
See, I thought they still held themselves back pretty well in 2. Like with the
With the second Thor film movie, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the tipping point for me was Avengers, where I really enjoyed it, and then suddenly it became the norm, where everything's a joke, and now I'm annoyed at it.
sure.
But and then the second Thor movie, at first I didn't like it as much the first time. I actually like it more on revisits. Not Natalie Portman, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, she looks cool in it. I like when she gets her little quibby moments.
I really like Natalie Portman as an actress, just not in the Thor
Yeah.
movies.
I like it when she was getting scanned and they're like, it's this, this, and this. And she's like, it's that thing. And it's like she's trying to stand up to people on Asgard. And it's kind of fun for her to try to hold her own. But
Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
they had done more with that.
it would have been
Yeah.
more fun for her to try to be like, yes, I'm human, but I also can do shit. But they didn't lean into that. They lean into the bromance between Thor and Loki so much. Which I enjoy, but it really just made Janeway not important. Not Janeway. Jane not important.
Well, it made her.
Janeway was really
It
unimportant.
made
in the Thor movies.
Honestly, that's probably why they broke up. Because she's like, you have such weird feelings for your brother. I don't know how to compete with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Thor 1 and 2 before we move into Thor Ragnarok?
I find
You
them
were-
largely forgettable. I
yeah.
do like that portal action sequence.
I think that portal action sequence was when the first time like the humor kind of connected.
Yeah.
Because everything beforehand was just like, I don't know how to approach this.
And the relationship between
It's
them
very
felt
interesting that you guys have that feeling and then we don't. Because the different types of humor that different people can connect to.
real. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just felt, honestly, if you ask me what both of those Thor movies were about, I can't tell you. I find them.
You
I
should
don't.
rewatch them. When was the last
I
time you
just
rewatched
don't.
them?
I don't know, but I mean, they're not that old. I don't remember anything, and I just find like of all the Marvel movies, those are the ones I just care the least about. They're not terrible. I just don't.
And unfortunately, I think too, the reason people I think the reason people might feel that way and like it's totally understandable is that I feel like Thor has been Marvel's dumping ground for explaining weird shit. The previous two films have existed in service of the franchise, whereas this one is the first one that legitimately stands alone and tells its own story. I mean, I know Doctor Strange makes a cameo, but even that feels appropriate to this film. But the others have just all kind of been, let's explain what Infinity Stones are, and let's explain that Marvel can get galactic and magical, and here's how it works. And they've all kind of existed in service. Like, people talk about Guardians being the first weird, like Marvel's first weird movie, and it's so unfair because
because Thor was like the warm up. Can we handle some space action?
Thor's like weirdness 101.
Yeah,
it's so.
But you're right.
unfortunate.
It was very much hindered and crutched by like having to set so much up and not spending enough time. Like I think that's what didn't connect with me at first.
Yeah, 'cause
Thor was the first one that really put up Coulson as being important, not just
Yeah.
a side character.
That's true.
And gave us Hawkeye.
Yeah.
that
okay.
sequence is so annoying. Though. let's take a break from the movie to show this man making cool poses.
See, that's how I felt about the Doctor Strange scene in this one. But
I think because those characters all seem to belong together, and it was so great to see Loki's reaction to someone.
God, I was about to
as
say that was
powerful
so
as him.
good.
so okay, so let's
This
move.
2-bit.
Also, just like hot men refilling beer, it might be a sexual fantasy of mine.
You're not
But-
wrong.
okay.
Well, okay, refilling beer with a smoldering look.
Yeah.
Let's be real here.
Oh yeah,
I know.
Which sequence are we talking about now?
Doctor Strange. So okay, so if we're gonna start with Thor, I'll start with the only thing that I really have a problem with the movie, and it's not that I think it's a bad sequence. I think it's a very funny sequence. I think Benedict Cumberbatch is a better Doctor Strange in Thor Ragnarok than he was in Doctor Strange.
Because now he's Doctor Strange
Yeah.
and not becoming Doctor Strange.
Yeah, like the sequence is incredible, but to me, it just feels like a weird sidestep of like, we need to throw another Avenger in here, and we're just going to spend some time over here with this kind of weak excuse of we're looking for his dad, but Loki's the reason he's there anyways.
That's true. If you cut out the entire Doctor Strange sequence, the plot of the story changes not
Nothing
Not at all.
changes. It is just a weird sidestep to include Doctor Strange, which is cool. I'm into it. But as coming from like a filmmaker standpoint, it's like there was no point to that whatsoever.
That was
it's
just
fun,
them
but
trying to be like shared universe. We still have to get at least tidbits in
Can
there.
Taika
Yeah.
Waititi direct the next Doctor Strange
Abso-fucking-lutely.
movie, though?
It
That would be awesome.
Better.
God, can we bring back Tilda for that? I will die.
Yeah,
I will
like-
literally die.
yeah, like that would be perfect. Like he
think-
proved that he gets the Doctor Strange universe as well as he gets the Thor universe. Like in a
That's
5-minute
because
scene.
he's a beautiful genius who understands everything.
I really
He
want to see
cares-
Tilda and Kate Blanchett
I do-
together.
But it was just so obvious to me while watching this movie that out of a lot of the directors that they have pulled onto these films, Taika understands comics way more than
Oh, for
pretty much
sure.
all of them. And the other ones, you can tell that they care about the comics, but Taika knows the comics.
Yeah, 100%. John, you were trying to say something like 3 times. There.
Yeah. Well, just that I agree with your thing. That's the biggest problem I had is with the Doctor Strange stuff. But it has some great humor that count among my favorite in the movie. So I'm very conflicted.
That's a great sequence. Like fantastic.
The entire
Adds
little
nothing.
thing between him and Loki, just like, I mean, it was like, what, one minute?
Oh yeah,
But-
Loki dealing with people who are more powerful than him. It's just perfect every
He
time.
doesn't like it.
Yeah,
also,
he hates it.
Also, there's a moment where Doctor Strange is like, "I'm just done with you."
Yes, it's so good.
I've never seen a
Yeah.
character in the Marvel universe just be that finite on a thing. It's like, "I'm done with you," and that's it. I'm like, "Okay, he's powerful." Like it was,
Yeah.
it was a very subtle
Because
thing.
we've seen
Yeah.
what Loki can do. So if this guy can dismiss Loki like that, he's got, even if you've never seen the Doctor Strange movie,
Yeah.
you'd still be like, holy shit.
And
this
he
dude-
doesn't
Yeah.
even say, I'm done with you. He just goes, okay.
that's enough.
I think it says like, "and we're done," something like that. And we're done.
I also really love Thor holding out his hand to his hammer and being like, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
As it
Oop,
bashes
sorry.
through his house.
Sorry. He is wearing a time gem though. He can just reverse everything. He'll be fine.
I like
but...
to call that the Harry Potter thing because of
That scene is
Fantastic Beasts.
Sure.
great. That scene is great because it's an umbrella that ends up crashing through.
Well, the umbrella is technically what he used to carry back in the golden age of comics.
That's a clear-cut geek
Yeah, that is
comic
a
book
pure...
moment there.
So for those of you who don't know, before Thor was Thor, he was a random dude who'd wear a suit and tie to work and carried around a magical umbrella
What?
that when he smacked on the ground, he'd turn to the god of thunder. That was the original Thor.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Wow, he does know the comics.
Yeah.
You're not kidding. That is.
so when he showed up with an umbrella as a comic book nerd, I was like, oh my god, they're going to do it. Oh my god, they're going to do it. And then when it got to the scene, he smacked the umbrella. I was almost standing up in my seat like, it was really fucking cool. I'm still excited about it now, having seen the movie 4 times.
That's a great scene.
But so moving beyond just the Doctor Strange thing, because for me that's my biggest sticking point in the movie. Even though I love the sequence, I don't think it is necessary to the film, but that's still kind of fine. The only other thing that kind of bumps me is the tone in the first act, not the opening sequence where he's talking to the guy that will eventually destroy everything. But I feel like the first act, and you guys can jump in and tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think the first act has to do double duty of trying to shift us out of the first two's tone and shift us into this movie's tone. And because of that, you get kind of this mixed bag of very serious while making fun of itself.
I think it fits in with the themes of the movie. It was so neat watching this after doing the Back to the Future episode. But it was, I think it fits because this whole thing, the whole point of the movie is that you are not beholden to your past.
Sure.
You get to be your own person. Your it's coming to terms with who your family says you were and who they are, and choosing to let that go. And I think that's what's kind of neat is everyone walked into this Thor movie with preconceived notions of kind of a middling franchise player in the Marvel universe. And we get that a little bit at the beginning. We get the standard Marvel stuff of like another character. And then Hammer's crushed. Fuck it. We're done.
Yeah.
Like that's, and it really plays into, there's like a great meta narrative, but it plays into the theme of the film because it bothered me the first time I saw it. And then I saw it a second time with Taika Waititi doing a Q&A. Mm-hmm. And he just like, he knew what he was doing without being disrespectful to the previous filmmakers. It was his way of saying, this is my film now.
Yeah, and the only time where it hit slight disrespect for me was the whole mocking the end of the second movie, like complete with the chorus singing the song. Because like I love the second movie, and that moment actually kind of impacted me. And then watching this one, it's just Sam Neill and company making fun of it, and it's like, I feel like you're kind of making fun of me a little bit, which is okay, but at the same time...
But I think that's also, like, Loki's perception is kind of the stilted, cynical perception.
Oh, for sure, totally.
Yeah, and I think the fact that they brought in, like, real actors like Sam Neill and Matt Damon and then Chris Hemsworth's brother, his older brother Luke, there's a certain amount of, like, playful... Like, these are all people that are close to either the filmmakers or, like, whatever,
it's
to
playful...
the audience's perception, and, like, it's playful. It's
more of a ribbing than, like, a complete...
They're not punching down. It's more like... We get it.
But the first time I saw it, that for me, like watching that sequence, I'm like, I like that movie.
Yeah.
Like I get that it's not the best of the Marvel, but I still like it.
Well, there's a part of me that would, to justify it for myself, is it works into the bromance thing about how Thor's constantly like, we need to talk about our feelings. And Loki's like, no! So he's just making fun of Thor's feelings during that entire sequence in a way.
Yeah, that's true.
I also love that the hypermasculine guy is the one with feelings.
Yeah,
Be still my heart.
I mean, they even have a moment in this movie where he's like, Loki, we need to talk about things. I know our family's never been good about that. And Loki's, no.
All right, well, let's move into just the big Hems himself. What do you guys think of Chris Hemsworth in this one?
It was a mixed bag again for me. Because, again, I have to this is one of those movies where I have to defend my emotions a lot on it because I do really enjoy it while also having a lot of criticisms.
Yeah.
One of the big moments that I got, Emily's just giving me this look right now of like, you're going to say something, I'm going to disagree with it.
I'm listening to you.
She's getting ready to cut a bitch.
Your resting listening face.
Stop interrupting her with your eyes.
But the one moment that totally illustrated the one part of how they changed Thor's personality in this movie for me was when he got his hair cut.
Yeah.
It's a fun sequence. Trust me, I enjoy it. It's a really funny sequence. We got Stan Lee about to cut his haircut with this terrifying looking contraption.
And his hair's jacked up the rest of the movie, which is awesome.
But it's just weird for me to take this man who we already got his becoming a man story in the first movie about, he's an adolescent, blah, 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 even though he's like 1,000 years old. And he learns how to really be Thor at the end of the first film. And then it kind of feels like he's doing that again in this one. And when he's getting his hair cut, he just acts like a little boy who's just like, don't cut my hair. No, don't cut my hair.
I am going to disagree with you.
Glad you got
All
there
right.
first.
Because how does it work for you? I mean,
First of all,
I find it funny, but I don't find it to be Thor in my mind.
I dig short-haired Thor, you guys. I really am into short hair. I'm not a long-haired fan on men. I thought it was just like smashing the hammer. Here's taking away all the things that make Thor Thor. We're stripping him down. There goes his luxurious hair he was so fucking attached to. Here goes his hammer that he doesn't think he can live without. Like we're stripping. There goes his reliance on family. He doesn't even have Asgard. Like there's nothing. The Bifrost is not like usable. It's part of stripping away everything that we know Thor to be so that he can sort of rebuild himself without all his crutches.
Infantilizing him for a rebirth? Is that what's going on?
I don't infantilizing. I just think that's a joke. I mean, I just think that's just him being funny. But like, I think the point of cutting his hair is all like just is part of that, taking away all the things that he's learned to rely on as far as like what he is.
I don't think the problem, though, and I agree with you on this one. I don't think the problem is the cutting the hair. That makes sense. Everything you're saying
It's
makes
the
sense. It's
reaction.
the
Oh, you're just
it's
talking about the fact that he's
yeah.
so silly about
That
it.
he's
Yeah.
acting like a 3-year-old going
Oh,
to
I
get his
I thought you were
haircut.
talking about the haircut itself.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
oh.
the haircut makes you're
Yeah.
spot on. I totally agree.
That's
but
what I'm talking about.
yeah.
How they made him a man-child when we
Oh.
already got man-child in the first movie.
because they wanted to bring in Stan Lee and make it funny.
Yeah, but you just touched on something which didn't make sense to me the 4 times I've watched this movie, but you pointing it out like that, I'm like, oh, it kind of works. The first movie is about him becoming Odin's son, Odin's heir. It is all about him becoming the guy to rule Asgard as the next Odin. This movie is about him becoming Thor. He's becoming his own person with his own rules, his own ideas, his own morals, no longer tied to his father. So the first movie is all about shaping him into being the next one in line. This one's about shaping him to being his own man.
Speaking of which, I have a question. So at the end, when he's having a little fantasy thing with his dad and trying to his dad's like, "Nyeh," and he goes, "You're not the god of hammers." And then he's like, "Okay, so it's a reminder, you're the god of thunder, yeah." And then he comes out of his trance, and then he uses lightning.
Comic books.
I don't, but they made a big deal
everyone
about.
associates them together.
It was like you're the god. It would made a point of pointing out that you are the god of thunder, and then he proceeds to not use.
Well, he can't just go around clapping.
Yeah.
I mean, he could. I want thunder. You're right.
Thunder is a byproduct of lightning.
See, I want that movie where he's clapping at his enemies, clapping at his ass. He's like,
Yeah. Do you feel the rumble?
That's how he called his hammer.
It's a very different movie.
Oh, that's a very different movie. All right, but beyond that sequence of the haircutting sequence,
Okay.
I think
if that was the mentality of the motivation for it, then yes, that makes complete sense.
I think I could be wrong, but that's what I think. But
'Cause
beyond
I
just,
thought they just did it because people thought it was funny.
which I mean, I'm sure is probably more of it. But Taika's, I think he's too smart of a filmmaker to just go straight for laughs. I mean, he does at times, but I don't. He's too intelligent to just go, no, this movie's just for kids. Forget it.
One moment that when Thor was being kind of a child, but I actually adore the sequence. It's one of my favorite sequences. Is when he's with the Hulk trapped in their little apartment, and he's kicking the ball, and he's like, "You're being a bad friend."
You bad friend.
That's still a very childish moment, but that moment completely works for me right there.
Yeah,
I think that's just being trapped in close quarters with the roommate you're kind of on.
I agree with what you're saying about that, but at the same time, I think there's also a playfulness that Taika Waititi uses in this movie. That,
for sure.
That takes a while for calibration in this, and I think that scene is probably where it breaks for some people. Even me, where I had pacing problems at the beginning. It's that thing where it's like, ooh, okay, you're doing this kind of silliness, and then you're gonna kind of divert and kind of recalibrate to be like what we like most in this movie.
Oh, I had that at the very beginning. The very opening of this movie when he's dealing with I forgot his name, the Balrog. And he's on the chain.
Ball Greg.
And he's on the chain, and he's doing his big dramatic villain thing.
Again.
And he's like, "Oh, wait, no,
Yeah.
I'll come back to you." I'm like, it's the same. I had that same emotion at that moment that I had in Last Jedi when during the phone conversation.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, am I on board for this, or am I not? And
Oh.
I decided I'm on board for
Yeah.
this.
Oh, this is the
On
movie
board.
I'm watching. Yeah.
Yeah.
But beyond just those couple of sequences, I think this is the best job Chris Hemsworth has done in a Marvel film.
Well, because he's a great comedic actor.
Well, he is. His comedic timing is fucking perfect. But just beyond that, I was talking to a friend of mine at work about it, and it's like I give more credit for Chris Hemsworth in this one than any of the other ones because he has a lot of scenes where it's just him and the Hulk, and you never question the Hulk as a CGI creature. He plays off him as if he's a real person.
Talk about his eye line.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good job, Scripty.
Yeah, the movie, it did such a good job. Like the effects are great 85% of the time. There's a few things with reshoots where the green screen's a little obnoxious, but whatever.
The scene with the dad on the cliff is the worst CG.
There's some rough ones in there, but it's more good than bad, so I kind of forgive it. But just him talking to the Hulk, you buy that they're both totally there, and because the effects hold up, and because their performances are there, it doesn't feel like it's Chris Hemsworth talking to, say, Roger Rabbit. It's him talking to another person, and that would not work if Chris Hemsworth wasn't giving it his all.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you know, is that Mark Ruffalo? Is he on set, or is that somebody else?
I honestly don't.
mocap? Do we know how they do
From
that?
everything that I've seen, it's mocap because he's talked in interviews about how the thing he calls it his man canceling suit because it's really awkward. But he is on set. He is the Hulk because they're doing and I don't think it's just after the fact doing his facial features because even as Hulk, he has the Mark Ruffalo mannerisms, but I believe he's on set
Oh, cool.
all the time.
That's cool.
I think he was.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, like just kind of behind the scenes stuff, like it looks like he was there for scenes where he's not like in his Tony Stark outfit.
And that might not be true for like the fight sequences and stuff. I would imagine they have a stunt person in there, but I think for the most part it's Ruffalo.
I think so. And you can totally tell they map his face on that one sequence where he's in the monitor and then it goes over with the Hulk's face. And it's like, oh, that is just Ruffalo's face. Like they just kind of felt like a victory lap for them. Like, hey, it's real.
We did it, guys. Also, Chris Hemsworth is more confident. Like he's now been in this like as Thor 3 movies, 4-ish, 5-ish. Wow, I lost count. And he's like a second skin to him.
Yeah.
Like the first movie, it seems like okay, he's a little stuffy. There's like a stuffiness to the first movie in his performance, which
that's
makes sense.
Brana. I mean,
Yeah, that's Brana.
That's Brana, but like in this, he's Thor. He's Thor.
yeah.
There's like no different. Like he doesn't break it for me.
He's also,
I've
he's also
never
been
had that.
influenced by
I've always
humans.
felt like he was comfortable being Thor.
I think so. The stuffiness never bothered me because I was watching a Kenneth Branagh movie. So
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's infantile, because maybe he's just spent a lot of time around humans now, so he's become less stuffy, and now he's just like, I tell jokes now.
So
I'm hanging around.
all humans are children because they only live to be 80.
I think too, this was the first time the movie had kind of been written for Thor. In
Yeah.
the other movies, they were always doing service to Loki mostly, but really trying to write so that Anthony Hopkins would do the film. Give him a reason to show up because he's such a crotchety dude.
I feel like in this, he only showed up just so he could do that scene where he's like, shit.
yeah.
but yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah.
It's finally his film and his franchise.
Yeah.
Everyone else is taking a back seat to him. He gets to own it, and he's working with a director and a writer that understand what to do with the character and him as an actor, like to play to his strengths.
Well, that and to just fully embrace the fact that this is, it's Thor. But not like the Norse mythology's Thor. It's a comic book
It's
Thor.
crazy
Like it's
Thor.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's colorful. It's nuts. And like I agree with there was an honest trailer that came out for last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever the fuck this episode comes out, where they talk about how this is like one of the first ones that actually look like a comic book movie, and that's where I usually go. Like that's why I love DC movies because they look like comic book movies.
From How It Should Have Ended was, it's the first movie that really recognizes this was a comic book written by dudes on acid in the 70s.
Yeah, well, that was the honest trailer.
Oh,
the
also
honest
like
trailer.
when Loki referenced like turning him into a frog.
Yeah.
Like these are clearly, like you said before, these are clearly people who understand comic books.
Yeah, and they're willing to make, because my major issue with Marvel a lot of the times is that I feel like they're more concerned with grounding their films than with making comic book movies, which is, it's worked for them time and time again, and they've made great movies. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but there's sometimes where I just want to watch a fucking comic book movie, and like even Guardians, they kind of grounded a little bit. And this one, it was the first time where I've seen them just go, fuck it. It's a whole movie of just, fuck it, we're going to have fun making a comic book movie. And it was just beautiful and a blast and awesome.
The soundtrack is phenomenal.
Yeah,
Even though
soundtrack
there's
works.
a couple times that it makes me think of Stranger Things. But that's just
Sure.
my own fault for watching that opening too many times.
It's Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo doing the music, and I'm
Which
just
is
like,
so cool.
when I saw his name on there, I was like, that's okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love the Mark Mothersbaugh resurgence that's happened lately because I just think, I mean, Rugrats was such a big part of growing up for me that I love him already.
Yeah.
And Devo is a big part of just me existing as a human in this world who likes 80s music. But yeah, I love that Lego Movie kind of gave him to us again, and I love that Taika Waititi just put him to like perfect use here.
Yeah.
I mean, they were using, and that they use like real synth keyboards and stuff. He talked about in the Q&A, like they actually had a keyboard that Robert Moog gave to Mark Mothersbaugh doing some of the synth work in this, which is so cool.
That's really cool.
It just like commits to its time period in a way that doesn't, because it's not a time period thing.
No.
It's
not
aesthetic.
Yeah. I also love, compared to Guardians, the second Guardians, my beef, and I talked about this on the episode, was that the movie seemed to exist in service of the music.
Sure.
And this one, the music kind of just works for this weird world that they've created where it looks like every shot looks like an album cover. And
Yeah.
it's so dope.
There's a part of me that really wants to. I always have those moments where I want to go through and collect scenes from movies that do the same thing. My biggest thing is I really want to someday have the time in my life to go through every movie that has reversed the polarity and put that into a never-ending stream. But the AC/DC song of the because that's been used so many times in so many movies. Led Zeppelin, sorry. And it's just like you would think at some point that song is going to get overused. But
Now
it's
it will.
still it's
But it
still
also has
effective.
like lines in it about that match up well.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
You know, Land of the Ice and Snow
Yeah.
and all. There's
it matched up with this movie perfectly.
Yeah.
Again.
First time in a while it's worked.
Yeah.
yeah.
We haven't really talked about anybody else in the movie yet, so let's actually talk Mark
go
Ruffalo.
through the actors.
Yeah, let's just go through the actors.
I think that was the biggest. It's not a mistake. I know it was done on purpose because they decided marketing was more important. But revealing that the great champion he was going to have to defeat was the Hulk in the trailer.
That would have been a great surprise.
That would have been such an awesome reveal, and we all went in knowing who he was, and the movie didn't know that we knew who it was, even though they should have predicted that. So it
Who
was
could
just,
this champion be?
yeah,
It's like, shut
I
up.
really
know.
missed the fact that I knew. Although that line he says when he says like, "I know him, he's a friend from work." Did you know that line was actually given to them by a Make-A-Wish kid who was
Yeah.
on set
Yeah.
that day?
I heard about
That's really
that.
cool.
Fucking love that.
But the thing is, again, as a comic book nerd, if they had not told us it was the Hulk, when he showed up, I would have been excited and incredibly disappointed because I would have assumed the whole time going up it's going to be Beta Ray Bill. And I would have been like, I can't wait for Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill's going to be in the movie. I can't wait. Oh, it's the Hulk. That's still really cool, but fuck, I want Beta Ray Bill.
But
And also,
everyone
we're
who's
never gonna get
not
Planet
you,
Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah.
but everyone who's not you would have been excited.
Well, there would have been a lot because there is a lot of rumors swirling that Beta Ray Bill might be in this movie, and all of us were really excited, and then he didn't
And
show
for
up.
me, it was with the swirl of whether or not we were going to get a Planet Hulk movie.
Oh, that was
'Cause
never
it's
gonna
still,
happen.
It's still frustrating that we're never getting an independent Hulk movie.
I
They tried.
Universal.
I know, it's frustrating.
Yep, bunch of fuckers.
I work for them, okay?
I do as well.
I love the Hulk.
Yeah, my two favorite Marvel characters are the Hulk and Thor. So this movie is like right up my alley. But it would have been cool to have Beta Ray Bill in there.
You know,
is all I'm saying.
my only beef with the Hulk is that they talk about how if he transforms into the Hulk after he becomes Bruce again, he might not come back.
Yeah.
So we don't really get the feel, because it happens so quickly, and maybe it's better for it, but we don't really get the feel of the sacrifice he makes to save a planet that is not his own.
Yeah.
They really
that's a-
gloss over that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it
a
happens too fast.
huge,
Yeah.
That's a huge moment when you think
And-
about the implications.
And it's undercut by him falling on the.
Yeah, that's
path,
that's one of the moments where like we didn't need that comedic beat. We
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
need that one.
That's a conflicted moment for me because I.
It's
laughed
funny.
so hard.
It's funny.
Because of the sound, the thuk, and then
Yeah.
like the
It's
ragdoll
cute,
thing.
But it
but
was.
on rewatch, you're like, I wish they could have just held that
Yeah.
moment.
And it had nothing to do. It was just for comedy.
Yeah.
There was no
Yeah.
plot because then he turns into the Hulk immediately after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
the
he
only
the Hulk at the end of the film when
Yes.
he's sitting in the throne?
Yep.
Okay, I couldn't remember if he was or not.
But the only two moments that missed that beat for me was that one, and then when he breaks out of the jail cell
Throws
with
the
the ball.
ball.
Yeah, like those are two moments that could have been clear, badass character moments, and instead we undercut with the joke. But that's Marvel now. Like you have to go in expecting
that's
that.
what they're
or-
always going to do at this point.
Yeah, they like that. They're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, sorry, I like
it makes the
impact
kids
humor.
giggle.
But anyhow, so Mark Ruffalo in this movie, I liked what he did with his character. Like it was obviously it was a director choice, but I like the whole idea that the longer he's the Hulk, the smarter he gets. Like he's growing up. Like he was a baby when he first became the Hulk, and the more time he spends with that, he grows up. He learns to talk, become a human. Essentially, well, not human, but you know what I mean.
Sentient.
Yeah, and then I love him when he's out of the Hulk. Like the way it's really underplayed, I think, almost to a fault, but it still works. Of the whole, he has to deal with the fact that he was the fucking Hulk for 2 years and had no control over anything. And there's a few lines of dialogue in there, but I liked that whole mentality of now he was always afraid of the Hulk because he was afraid of what he would do as the Hulk. Now he's afraid of the Hulk because he thinks he's going to lose himself to it, and that's a very different fear.
Yeah.
It's probably because of the Hulk growing up, because then the Hulk has more self-agency and it's harder to control that.
Yeah.
And I didn't pick up on it the first time I watched this movie, but on the rewatch, when he's turning back into Banner and he's doing the thrashing, he's going, "No Banner!"
Yeah.
The whole time, as if like, oh, it's kind of like he's dying in a way every time he becomes Bruce Banner.
It is my favorite part of this movie.
Yeah, it's a really good emotional beat that there's so many of these things that the first time I saw it, I'm like, they should have spent more time hitting that thing. And I'm like, no, on rewatch, I'm like, no, I think it works. It's just, it wasn't what I expected when I sat down to watch the movie.
One of my favorite things is the way that Thor has no idea why the sun is going down works. So
Yeah.
he just keeps fucking saying it because he doesn't understand it, but he knows those are the magic words. It's just like,
He just doesn't have, the feminine touch.
I want to say, and next time any one of my friends is like getting upset, I'm just gonna be like, the sun is going down.
What do you guys think of Tessa Thompson in this?
Oh my god,
She's
it's
beautiful.
so amazing.
Cool.
Do you think they'll give her own movie?
No.
This is Marvel.
Yeah.
Can they have? They're going to give any of their women their own movies?
Can they at least acknowledge that she's a lesbian? That'd be cool.
No,
No.
that's Marvel Disney
No.
for you.
Yeah, I mean,
They will do everything they possibly can to not actually say those words.
They'll
that
give
she-
her a really cool best friend.
They
they'll-
gave
Sacrifice
her a
at the
little
end of the
moment
film.
in the
But they're-
flashbacks. They have a very clear moment between her and another Valkyrie, where one Valkyrie is running to her and takes a sword in the back, and then you see her face looking at the other Valkyrie, where clearly there's a little thing there, like whether or not it's camaraderie or actual lover or whatnot. There's more because she's not looking at Hela in that sequence. She's just looking at that one Valkyrie. So
Then
you
it
get
did-
the hint.
Maybe.
Then Disney steps in. Oh, look at this joke.
Yeah. Well, there's no. They actually
That-
didn't
there's
punctuate
no
that
joke
with
in
a
No,
that
joke.
no, but
moment.
they will do anything to say it, not
Yeah.
to be definitive on that.
Oh yeah.
I'm
But I
glad they didn't make her fall in love with Thor.
Yes.
you. Yes.
I like that.
I
I-
liked how she kept flirting with Thor. And
Yeah.
Thor's terrible at flirting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite was when she like comes flying off the other ship, lands on his windshield. He's like, "You want to get inside?" And she's like, "I'm not done." Flies off to another spaceship.
No,
I love her intro too.
I
that she's
love-
just-
oh.
She
She's
plays-
the girl I want to hang out with. She's so cool.
Yeah.
Like
she's a good drunk.
Yeah.
aw,
Great
man,
drunk.
such
That
a great
fall
drunk.
again made me laugh so hard. I think that's everything with like falling accidents in
Yeah.
movies when they play them that way.
That's because you're a dad. Slapstick comedy is now your life.
yeah,
I
it
have
is.
not seen her in too many projects, honestly, but we just recently saw Annihilation.
Yeah.
And seeing a complete opposite character in Annihilation that she's portraying towards this one
Cool.
gave me more respect for her performance
Or
on the
you didn't
rewatch.
watch Westworld, but even
No,
in Westworld,
I never
she's a
saw
completely
Westworld.
different character.
Yeah,
Like she's
a good actress.
yeah, she's very good.
She's
And-
so good
Dear
in
White
Dear
People.
White People.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
I
see
never
that
saw
one
that
either.
either.
It's really good.
But like I know Marvel won't give her her own movie. I'm hoping that if she can get some sort of traction on her idea of like the female Avenger film, that they would give
That would be
that
fun.
to her. Because she's the one who's really pushing for it, and if they give her any credibility,
probably
like
the only
DC's trying to do with Margot Robbie and Harley Quinn, like if they give her that same sort of treatment of like pitch us a movie, if we like it, we'll make it, which is essentially what they did with the Harley Quinn thing.
As long as they don't make them all sassy.
well, they will.
You guys
That's
know
Marvel.
my
Yeah.
opinion of that
So
one
sassy.
article about Captain Marvel, because we need to give our
sassy.
women finger guns and make them sassy.
I'm so mad about Captain Marvel.
Why doesn't
She's
she have
a-
the mohawk?
Why isn't she an adult woman? I love Brie Larson. She's super talented, but Captain Marvel, like the whole thing is that she's seen some shit. She's been in war.
She's a
She's
captain.
killed people.
Yeah.
She is a captain. She's earned that. Make her 40. Don't be scared.
No, but she
Yeah.
needs to be a young sassy lady.
Sassy.
Anyway, sorry.
Give her
Sorry,
a mohawk.
and you're gonna cut this all out.
Maybe I don't know. I like bashing on that movie. 'Cause
I'm
there's
just
so many
bashing-
things I want
I'm
from a
just
Captain
bashing
Marvel
on
movie.
Marvel, and they're
Yeah.
like, we're gonna be really good to our female characters later.
Yeah, it's,
we haven't
For
made
the
one
last,
yet.
like 12 years.
but here's the thing: is I think Tessa Thompson, for me, as a supporting female character, because we haven't had a lot of good supporting
Yeah.
female characters. We really have Black Widow and Scarlet Witch, and both of them kind of get the short end of the stick in every movie they're in.
Because no one in those movies knows
She
what to
does
do
get
with
to
them.
hold
Yeah.
her own more
And
in
she,
this movie than
she
they
holds
ever
her own.
do.
She has legit moments, and she has her own agency, and
Yeah.
like she can make her up in her own mind, and like so they did better with her. But I don't. Again, I don't want to give the credit to Marvel just because that's who I am. I think it was all Taika.
Yeah.
Taika and Lee Thompson.
Yeah, and,
Tessa.
yeah,
Tessa.
Tessa Thompson. Yeah.
I'm trying not to say Leah Thompson.
But either way, like
That'd be a very different Valkyrie.
I know, but it's just
It's very
it
interesting
really
music.
just comes out in her performance and in her direction, like
Yeah.
you're saying, because she's more than just boobs and butt, like what they kind of make Black Widow out to be a lot of
Yeah.
times.
I loved in this movie that every woman character was there for the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Hela's a little sexy, but so are the dudes. You know, the
Yeah.
whole Thor
Oh, everyone's
family.
Hela
sexy
was
in this movie.
terrifying.
The
Yeah.
Sexy.
whole Odinson family loves showing their shoulders, and I am here for that. So,
I
you
hope
know,
someone hires me to make that costume.
Yeah.
The Thor family, very good posture.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
know how
Yeah.
to carry themselves.
Yeah. So, but even though she was sexy, she was like ready for battle. She was there to move. She was there to fight. She was in charge. And Tessa Thompson, like her armor was meant to fit her and be functional, and she
Yeah.
could
And
take down and
movable,
fight
where-
with
Yeah.
Hulk. Yeah.
oh, we're forgetting
Topaz.
Gamora. Gamora was also pretty badass, but
Yeah, Gamora's
I
very
kind of
badass. I
forgot
love
about
But
Gamora.
her
Yeah, they
entire
just-
agency is about taking down her father.
Yeah,
And sidelining her so that she can have a romantic subplot that she wouldn't suffer.
Yeah.
yeah.
And Topaz, my girl Topaz.
Topaz is
oh,
cool.
I love her.
I like Topaz. I also like. Did anybody else have the Blu-ray or the DVD? The short film of Team Daryl.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Who's
Poor-
Topaz?
Topaz is Jeff Goldblum, who we'll talk about next.
Oh, I keep
Right
forgetting.
here.
I just think of him as the master.
Yeah,
Grandmaster.
Grandmaster. Yeah, the girl who's always to the left or right.
Why are you giving me the melt stick?
Yeah. Hey, don't take my quote.
Oh, sorry.
I love
But-
when she just insults Valkyrie.
Oh my God.
endlessly
Trash.
about
Yeah.
everything. Oh my god.
She
I'm
does
always
not
saying
like
she's
her.
beginning with a B. Trash. I love that.
Booza. Oh my god, she's so wonderful.
But Jeff Goldblum in this movie was so in Phase 3, Marvel decided to start bringing in what they are calling legacy actors, which I think is a really weird term for people who are just actors.
Yeah, like
But they
what's
said
the
that
legacy here?
Well, it was Kurt Russell and Jeff Goldblum were the two. They're like, oh yeah, you're gonna see more.
Yo, this
like,
was the first real Jurassic Park sequel. There was a
Yeah.
there was a Jeff Goldblum. I will acknowledge this and no others.
if only they were in the same scene together. So close. But I think Jeff Goldblum in this movie, because both him and Kurt Russell in Guardians 2, they did what I didn't expect them to do, which was give a shit. Because there's something about these sorts of actors where it's like, oh yeah, you're being hired because people remember you from 20 years ago and you were awesome then. Can you just show up and cash a paycheck? That I kind of had this fear of. But both Goldblum and Kurt Russell are like, all right, yeah, we're going to show up and actually act in these roles. And Jeff Goldblum's Grandmaster, like, he's
sassy.
Sure, he's sassy, but he's like the center point of the movie that without him, the majority of the film doesn't work. And it's like he does such a good job as like this oddly pivotal role. And he entertains me every second he's on screen.
He's somehow Pete Goldblum and still giving a great performance.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
His character is one of those people where I'm like, how did you come into power exactly? Because he's not very threatening on his own. He definitely needs his support staff. He doesn't have, literally, he has a staff. And it's just like, did he just get the melt stick? And then he just started melting people and so they agreed with him? Like,
I love the post credits where he's just like, yeah, you had a revolution, but you need someone to fight against. So I did my part. We'll call it a tie.
I think it's his pure likability in those moments where it's like, oh, yeah, that's probably why.
Well, and the psychological warfare he wages on anyone. Like that whole sequence where Thor's in the chair and he's like, no one loves you.
Yeah.
You owe your allegiance to the Grandmaster. Like, this guy's a total scumbag.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
If he were anywhere else and anyone else in any other context, he'd be like just a total like
he'd be a
gaslighting
great
scumbag.
Scientologist.
Yeah.
I mean, he also melted his own cousin right in front of Thor.
Yeah.
So it's just like, hey, you want to fight back? Look what's going to happen to
He's
my
a-
cousin.
He's a cult leader.
Yeah.
And that's what's so great
Yeah.
about
that's
it.
how he
'Cause
rose to
I
power,
would
his
join
cult. Okay.
Yeah.
100% I'd join that cult.
Yeah, he looks cool.
He also,
has
he
a
does
point.
look cool. He has a fabulous wardrobe.
Yeah. And I like the little paint on his chin. Yeah. it's
I
all
think
good.
it was a good surprise for this movie because the trailers were promising a very just like phoned in character. That's what I expected going in. It was like, oh, they just got Jeff Goldblum and they were so excited they forgot what to do with him.
You know,
No,
if
that's
we're
not the
gonna
case.
Talk about these quote unquote legacy actors.
Yeah.
Because DC has also been doing that for a long time, but in the TV shows.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't come up to mind with any single one of them that hasn't given a shit.
Yeah, no, like when they show up to play. And it's really...
It's like they know why they're there and they appreciate it.
Yeah.
They appreciate the fans.
Well,
I mean, Fat Russell Crowe as Jor-El needed some work. And I say this is a connoisseur of Fat Russell Crowe. But, you know, even his weakest is just better than everybody else.
Yeah. But there is something to be said about, like, it's one of those things that keeps my faith in Marvel. Like, it's... Because like they're at the point now where they're a $15-16 billion company, like industry. They make more money for Disney than any other property Disney has. Like they are like they could do really whatever they
were
want.
A good investment.
Yeah, and we'll keep going. And the fact that they're still trying new things, they're still doing cool new things. It's awesome. It's exciting to see. And like if this is what they're planning for Phase 4, because Phase 4 they kept saying that it's going to be less end of the world, more personal stories, and this one is not the end of the galaxy. It's the end of Asgard, and even Asgard, it's just more of the city that
Kind
they
of
destroy.
even more weird that they're doing Captain Marvel then, since she's all about saving the world in space.
Yeah, so we'll see. But if this is more of what they're going for, of like more director vision, direct like films with more like style, and I'm into it. I'm up for it.
I'm always willing to see what they're going to do, and I'll always be here with my criticism and my love.
What haven't we hit on this movie? Like what?
There's lots of actors we haven't hit on.
Go for it.
One of my personal favorite actors, I feel is wasted. Look, granted, he still gave his all, but I just don't think they gave him much to work with, honestly.
Carl
Urban.
Who can we talk about his head? I did not recognize him because his head has grown.
Really?
It's enormous now.
Well, he had probably a bald cap on. So
no,
that's
I mean, it's like he's just bulked the fuck up. That
he's
dude. Like,
Yeah.
he's huge.
But he plays Scourge, and he's a character that in the comics that I'm just not familiar with. Brian did tell me that the gun thing is pulled directly from the comics, so I can respect that. But my biggest issue is I never like the regretful, I'm definitely going to be a hero at the end character. I never like it in any movie. They're like, oh, I'm going to attach myself to this bad guy. But the whole time I'm just going to look like I'm like feeling bad about it. And then it's just like, so every time they'd cut to him and he'd look down and look morose. Like, oh, I don't actually want to
You
kill
have the whole
anyone.
you have the whole runtime knowing he's going to do it.
Yeah,
so
and
there's
it's
no
like,
like
I'm
there's
just
no drama.
annoyed in every scene.
The
at that
drama
point.
is in how, and it's because of Des and Troy from Texas.
I understood all his
his
and I understood all his decisions. Why he, you understand why he sides with her, and you understand
but
why he
it's
changes his
so-
mind.
Yeah, you understand because it's so cookie cutter. You've seen it 1,000 times. There's
the
no
best
drama in it
version
to
of
me.
that
But I
1,000.
enjoyed it.
Here's my thing with it, and it's again just going. I've said it a billion times. Comic book nerd on it. It's Marvel always had the best lackeys. They always had the best. Like, here's your ultimate villain. This is the goddess of death. In any other Marvel movie, it would just be her.
And how
But
is
since
he
this
a
guy
best-
went-
Or some guy with no personality.
Sure,
She ends up
but-
killing later.
Yeah, but it would just be the one villain. And
Yeah.
this one did what so far only the original Captain America done, which Chewie pointed out to me last night. It had the lackey. Like, Marvel always has that lackey right-hand guy that will try to betray him at the
Okay.
end, tries to chicken out.
He's just standing there looking morose. Like,
Yeah.
what does he do that makes him an interesting character other than having guns at the end?
I mean, the thing is, I
Tell
don't...
some funny jokes.
Does he?
He has a shake weight, and he is Carl Urban.
And I
What
love when
more
he
do you
runs in and
need?
he's like, "It's the Thor son."
Carl Urban is on my cheat list. Trust me. I love Carl Urban.
Urban's amazing.
But I can, like I
Carl
always
Urban's
say,
on my fiance's
I can
cheat
love you
list.
and I will still criticize you. And I think you pull his character out of this movie, it affects nothing.
Yeah.
No, it affects nothing story-wise, but it definitely affects something charm-wise. Like, the charm of having the villain and her lackey, I love
He
it.
does nothing as her lackey.
The lackeys never do. They're a fucking lackey.
It's also a great source for exposition for her. Because otherwise she'd just be pontificating
Yeah, that's
about
it,
all
yeah.
this crazy shit
That
that
would
her
be
So
dad
funny.
they
did
gave
to
her someone to give exposition with, too, who had a
who
personality.
would be
instead
like
of,
appropriately incredulous and a little too stupid to comprehend just how bad this is.
I wish they would have hired someone I didn't care about then to play the role. Because for someone like Carl Urban, who I believe is an amazing actor, has a ton of screen charisma, he is wasted on this. And then this is what he gets in the Marvel Universe. He could have played an amazing villain at some point in one of the Phase 4
Amazing
films.
villain and Marvel don't really go
Yeah, I
together.
know.
Yeah.
But better than what
Hela. We haven't really talked about her much.
better than what he got. Like, I feel like this is just a cheat to Carl Urban's potential, and just, he's not a side actor to me. He's a leading man, and just I feel a little betrayed by him taking that role in a way.
Can I take something Emily said just now? We haven't talked much about Hela.
Yeah, I was gonna get to her.
I have
after
a
this.
very serious question though.
Yeah.
She's not dead, right?
no.
No.
Okay.
If they kill her, I'm gonna be pissed.
Well, because they keep saying Asgard is the people, and she draws power from it. But then
Hmm.
they bring about Ragnarok. So does her power come from the people? Does her power come from the place? She's not dead. She's not dead.
Honestly,
No way.
okay, every time they say, because they hint at Thor also getting his power from the people, I'm like, are they just sucking the power out of the common people, and that's why they need to keep them alive? Like, are they like these weird, like, parasites to the community?
But so here's the thing:
Yes.
is Hela dead? It depends on what the Russo brothers want to do with her. If they want to use her, then no. If they
Because
don't,
like Thanos'
The budgets
whole
don't
deal
wanna
is
use
that
her.
He's like courting death, right?
yeah. So the
Oh, I
if
actually
you-
want that explained. I thought so. Thanos is not courting her. She's a totally different god of death.
I see. That's where I don't know. I don't know if Hela's a different god of death than
Yeah, I don't
god
know
of
if they're
death.
going to
I-
bring in two different gods of death.
Yeah, because if you read Infinity Gauntlet, which is what the upcoming Infinity War is based on, more so, it's the beginning of the book is all Thanos talking to the goddess of death, going, "Why don't you love me? I've done everything you've told me to do," and she's not responding, and he's very upset and sad that she's not responding and being so distant. And then his lackey, because all Marvel villains had a lackey, is like, "You haven't done what she told you to do." She's mad that there's more people alive now than there are dead. She wants you to balance the scale. So you have to go kill 1/3 of everyone in the galaxy, and that's what kicks off Infinity Gauntlet. and that was all just to prove his love to the goddess of death.
So
But if you look at the goddess of death,
Thanos is a villain is because he's in the friend zone and he's really unhappy about
sure.
it.
I mean, well, he was a villain before that,
It's
but
because he found a woman with standards.
yeah,
What you just described, Brian, is why. Yeah, I mean, she's probably. I guess now I'm thinking she's probably dead because Thanos wouldn't follow her. With how like these movies end their one-off villains so quickly and so like.
It's to a frustrating point.
Yeah,
but they did something with her that they haven't done with anybody else, which they made her a gargantuan threat from the past.
Yeah.
So if Thanos is the being that he's supposed to be and has existed
Okay.
forever, there's a reasonable thought that she had already interacted with him back before she was banished.
Okay.
And they actually show her killing people, which
Yeah.
a lot of the villains...
They usually kill one
they usually-
unnamed person.
Yeah,
That's it.
like
She laid waste to the Warriors 3.
Yeah.
definitely.
I like to and I also think she has a point in that it's like you wanted all this and you like
Oh,
to pretend this
she's-
is not how you got it.
She's
you
totally
know?
a woman spurned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also like want to talk about that headdress. How much did it weigh? What was it made of? I have so
How
many.
often
like,
did she actually wear it? Because there's
Yeah,
a few times it's
was it
definitely
CGI?
CG. Yeah.
Or was
CG.
it-
She
Someone
takes
asked
it
about
on an
that.
awful
It's
lot.
always CG?
It's mostly CG.
Oh.
Yeah.
Taika talked about. Someone
Maybe
asked
too
him
heavy
about that
otherwise.
in the
Q&A.
the Q&A, and he was like, "Yeah, he's like Kate Blanchett is a very strong woman, but no one's neck."
Like I even
That's
remember
gonna be
Angela-
hard to replicate for cosplays.
Even with Angelina Jolie in
Maleficent.
Maleficent, she complained. Well, not really complained, but she would talk about how difficult and hard it was on her neck for just 2 horns,
Yeah.
let alone like 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of that outfit, actually, it's really neat to see the behind the scenes footage. How much of it is just like kind of a morph suit with like dots on it, because the whole suit or her whole
Yeah.
second skin is very much alive.
Oh damn! For cosplayers everywhere.
sorry.
God damn it!
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The dollar amount just keeps going up.
It's a little pricey.
And I
Good,
just
Emily, make that money.
I mean, I could do it.
they established her so well as being a legitimate villain, which
Yeah.
a lot of the Marvel ones aren't. That it does frustrate me to think that she'd be dead again.
Especially
Really
because
would.
they establish her as a legitimate villain. She's more threatening than almost
Yeah.
every Marvel villain we've
she
had
has
so far.
very good motivation.
But they lock her to Asgard the whole time because they take the sword, so she can't go anywhere. So most of the time she's being this great villain, she's just putzing around Asgard going, I
Yeah.
could be really great if I wasn't handcuffed to this city. And
Now
why would a
she's
goddess
got
of death
an
be-
interdimensional Balrog that she can ride?
yeah.
Oh, good
Because
points.
when
Everybody.
you see the final sword stab her, there's a of green, and you don't know if that's her teleporting, being teleported, or dying. It could be any one of the
Hope
three.
for teleporting. 'cause
Yeah.
Let's hope for
Yeah,
teleporting.
you
see
don't
her
have
again.
the body. You don't know they're really dead.
Do you know? And you're right, because if we have a scene and it doesn't get spoiled for us, and then suddenly like she pops up, your immediate reaction is going to be, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
You know, because now we know how powerful it is. She took Thor's eye. She's
Yeah.
not to be trifled with.
Can we talk about that eye?
You mean keep your eye closed?
Keep your eye closed. We're gonna tape it closed. We're gonna put a lot of eyeshadow on it. I could see his eyelashes in the movie theater. I'm like, I see them. They're there.
What I think that was supposed to be is that the eye came out and then he just closed his lid.
Okay.
That's the only way it makes sense.
So he's winking the rest of the movie.
I kind of love the parts of this film that are a little seamy like that.
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of it felt that way, and I don't mean that in a bad way, especially because I just went back and watched the Lord of the Rings movies
Yeah.
for the battle. It's so interesting. There's like it's the most New Zealand film.
Oh,
'Cause
for
there's
sure.
that grimy Kiwi, like, we're just gonna do this with like a toothpick and a camera.
You
Yeah.
even get Taika playing that with
Korg.
Korg. Yeah, it's fucking. That's so great. His voice is so like
Cork is
the
very
New Zealand
funny.
accent, little like,
My mom's
gentle.
boyfriend that I hate.
I tried to start a revolution, but I didn't.
I didn't hand
I
enough
didn't have
pamphlets.
pamphlets, so only my mom and her boyfriend came.
My mom and her boyfriend, which I hate.
Get out of here, ghost.
Like there's
He was adorable.
he was fantastic, and it's weird because you know the Russo brothers were not planning on using him. Like I'm sure they barely even really cared about him, but he had such a hit with the fans. I wonder if they'll try to bring him back in one way or another.
Maybe.
Like I'd
Taika's getting that money.
like I would be so excited to see him show up in Guardians 3. Like if he was one of the Guardians.
That's so smart to put a character that you play
We need
and,
to
as
get-
and make him a fan favorite, so that now you're required to be in. Like,
can join
I
your
mean,
club,
look
yeah?
at Jon Favreau with Happy.
His friend needs to get the suit back, the centipede crab thing.
Yeah.
I forgot his name. But yeah.
Oh, you're alive.
Memes alive, everybody.
Meek.
I love when Loki encounters them on the bridge of the ship, and he's like, "You look like you're in need of a leader," and he's like, "Thank you." I love that Loki's compulsion is always to just he has to be in charge.
Yeah.
Fucking when the ship shows up and he's like, "You're saved!"
injured?
Like, yeah.
Oh, Loki.
He's just so happy.
I love that. I love he and Thor's arc in this too. I love that it's about siblings coming to terms with the shit their parents did to them. We talked about that with Back to the Future, like that moment you realize your parents are not infallible.
Yeah.
Their dad is a literal god, and the moment they realize he's infallible is because their evil sister comes out of a dimension where he trapped her. Like that's shitty parent lies.
And that also gets back to one thing that, again, one of my criticisms of this movie. Why doesn't anyone care about their mom? Why didn't Hela ever say, "Where's mom?
That's a good
Is
point.
mom dead?
Yeah.
Who killed mom?"
Oh, I think they forgot about her. I mean,
Yeah.
the writers.
Yeah, they definitely
It's
totally
just
forgot
weird
about
to me
Rene
that
Russo.
they never mentioned their mother,
That's a
especially
great
because she was
point.
such a. The mother was the motivation for Loki in the second film.
Yeah.
And no mention of her in this one.
And he like
Especially because Odin drove his kids apart, and part of what's kept them together was their relationship with their mom. At least with the boys. I mean,
Yeah.
Hela's just mad.
I mean,
She
Hela
should
had
be.
to have had a relationship with her.
Yeah.
If
Unless it was
even-
a different mom.
Yeah, it might not
and
have
then
been
that's
at
a
all.
whole nother subplot then. Where's that mom? Is she mad that Hela's dead?
Maybe they just like saw all those questions and they were like, fuck it.
and that's kind of like as you rewatch this and start to think about things, there's a tendency when you watch movies to like, this is really good when I watch it, but then the logic starts to step in and you're like, oh shit.
I mean, that's
and you have
why
to
I-
ignore all that because that's where all this starts to break down so
See,
much.
and I disagree.
I
like,
still really enjoy this movie,
I
but
do,
there's
yeah.
just little moments where I'm like, can we at least just get at least one line mentioning her?
I agree that the mom should have been mentioned at some point, but what John was saying, like the thing about this movie is the other two Thor movies, I love them, but when I'm done with them, I'm done with them. Like I don't walk out going like, oh, I wonder what's happening now, or anything like that. It's just kind of like, man, whatever. This one made me more excited for the Thor universe. Like I left with questions, but in a good way. Like,
Are we
this-
going to get a Thor universe?
No, totally not. And this will probably be the last Thor movie we ever get because they don't want to do part 4s. But either way, it's like, like this made me go, I'm excited for everything there. Like I was excited about it felt.
I actually have a feeling Chris Hemsworth's going to be the one transitional Avenger that stays from Phase 3 to Phase 4.
It's possible.
It would be fun for him to be in a third Guardians movie.
His other
Yeah.
his other endeavors, like as an actor, unfortunately, his other endeavors haven't panned out so well. His
Yeah.
quote is still low. He loves the character. I think if they can keep Taika Waititi on, he'll follow him to the ends of the earth.
Yeah, and if they're willing to do a 4th movie, which who knows, but so far
I
they
think
said
he'll
no.
be the transitional because he's how they use Hulk best.
Yeah.
That moment in the new Avengers trailer, the only time I was genuinely excited was when he and the Guardians meet up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Which-
it makes so much sense and it's still so exciting.
Yeah.
I have a feeling they're setting Thor up to be the transition from
I hope so
Phase
because
3 to Phase 4.
because
Well,
I know
I was-
originally when they were first talking about it was going to be Doctor Strange. Like he was supposed to be like the new point person. Then his movie came out and everyone went, and like, all right, we need to find somebody else now.
That's why that scene was so important in
Yeah.
this movie in terms of the franchise building.
Yeah.
Because I think, because Thor works on Earth with Doctor Strange, he works in space with the Guardians, he'll be
Yeah.
a great asset to Carol when she's fighting Kree.
Yeah. I don't know.
I can't wait to see Peter Quill respond to Thor.
Oh my
Like
god.
to just be
Yeah.
like, I'm tougher than that guy. You know, like-
I'm sorry, Quill. No, you're
Yeah.
not.
Star-Lord? Which star? I've been to many of them.
See, that's really what the Infinity War is about. It's the war of the Chris's.
Is there anything else we want to say about Thor Ragnarok before we wrap this thing up? Moving to quotes.
It's fun.
It is a
It's
lot of fun.
It's very
It's
fun.
fun. It's colorful.
I
It's
just
fun.
feel like we have to mention, because he's like on my list of hotties and reasons I watched this movie, just Heimdall was great. I like that he's
He
got
was.
more powers than we realized. Give him more to do. Idris
it
Elba
would.
forever.
Yes, give him more to do.
Well,
You know,
or just
each
let him
time-
leave. Like I don't think he's a big fan of the Marvel franchise, so if he
Each-
doesn't want to do it, you just stop dragging him.
There's
into
not like he doesn't have options.
It. Yeah.
It was kind of weird for me though, because each time they would cut to him, I thought we were going into Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if he had just run into the other guys going, "Where are you going? Well, we're going to go hide in this mountain. Where are you going? We're going to go get rid of this ring." Like it would have made total sense.
I was
to
just
me.
thinking that. I'm like, oh, he'd be really good as Aragorn. He'd been great.
In that reboot, then I'd watch it.
Yeah. All right, let's move into quotes. Mine's already been kind of said, so I'll go first. I just need to actually read it word for word. So mine comes when they're after the Hulk and Thor have broken out, and the Grandmaster is very upset, and he calls up Valkyrie and Loki to yell at them, and he starts yelling at them, and immediately Loki interrupts, And he gets really mad at him, tells him not to interrupt. And then, what's her name again? I'm forgetting her name.
Tessa Thompson?
No, the girl to the right.
Topaz.
Topaz hands him the melt stick, and he just looks. He's like, "Why are you handing me the melt stick? He was interrupting. That's not a capital offense."
So good.
Such a great line.
Can I go next for the Grandmaster?
Yeah.
Okay, so when they're on the ship, the orgy ship, and they turn on the button, and he goes, "It's my birthday." That's my favorite. I couldn't stop laughing. I missed the 10 minutes after because I just could not stop.
It's so good.
Mine is also on the ship, so it's right after Valkyrie goes off, and Thor's like, "Oh, I guess I better go help her." And then Bruce is like, "I don't know how to fly this," and I've never related more to Thor than I do in this quote, where Bruce says, "I don't know how to fly one of these," and Thor says, "You're a scientist. Use one of your PhDs," and then leaves.
That was gonna be one of my. That was gonna be my quote.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I keep losing my quotes.
Yeah, you got to be quicker in the draw.
So there's that scene where Thor's talking to Korg as he's looking through weapons before the gladiatorial match or whatever, and in this cut back and forth, each shot has a different weapon in his hand as he's talking. That's funny to me, but then when Thor's like, "Well, every time I threw it, it would always come back to me," and he goes, "Well, it sounds like you had a pretty special, intimate relationship with this hammer, and that losing it was almost comparable to losing a loved one." Just the deadpan, Taika Waititi forever. I swear to God.
Well, I'll just go with the one that was a very poignant one that I already said that wasn't a joke. Of no banner.
Yeah, it's a great moment.
And they didn't make it funny. That entire sequence of him going back to being Bruce Banner was serious.
It's very serious.
I'm not gonna lie,
and
I
sad.
teared up a little bit when they had Natasha's face.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And I
It's one of
just
the-
watched Age of Ultron, and it was just the exact same thing they used. It's really well done.
Yeah, it's the almost the only moment in the movie where it isn't broken by a comedic beat.
The only other one that I'm just gonna have a second quote because it was so perfect and it said volumes about the Thor franchise was when Loki's saying, "I'm just gonna stay here in Sakaar because I think I do well here," and he's like, "Yeah, you do great here." He's like, "Oh, do you think so little of me, brother?" And Thor just looks at him and goes, "I thought the world of you. I thought we're gonna be fighting together forever," and it's not punctuated by a joke.
Yeah.
It's just this real one raw emotional moment. And it's like, oh shit, that's really sad.
Because you can, I like the moment, actually. It's played for laughs, but it's really poignant when they're in the elevator and he's like, "We're not doing Get Help. We're not doing Get Help." And then the thing opens and they're doing Get Help. You get a glimpse of they used to be brothers. They grew up together. This is a game they've played before. They used to be tight. And you don't see so much of that in these movies because they're also antagonistic. Loki in particular is so antagonistic, but there's a moment where you're like, yeah, they're like regular kids probably.
Yeah.
I think that's
They
what was
really
so
just
neat
need to
about
go to
this.
therapy.
I think that's what was so neat about this whole movie because he left in the moments where Taika Waititi left in the moments where people would break. So most of Tom Hiddleston's scenes, he's just giggling, and you kind of it helps play into the brotherly aspect of things that was missing for so much of it.
Yeah. So review system. I the whole time I was leading up to this one, I was thinking Marvel movies, and now that we're here, I don't think that one's right. I'll throw it to the table. Does anybody have a good review system?
No, because review system is like the hardest thing.
I know, right?
Jeff Goldblum films.
Done. Jeff Goldblum films. I like that one.
Okay.
I'm going with The Fly.
Fine. I'm going with Independence Day.
I didn't even get to say why I picked The Fly. So I'm going with The Fly because it's just Goldblum at his best, and this is what I think is the most recent Goldblum at his best. Skipping over a few other really great Goldblum movies.
I'll go with Independence Day because talk about a movie that knew how to ham it up. And it's all about saving the world. And, not when it's Earth and not Asgard. And it's about people overcoming their shared experiences and learning to come closer together while fighting and saying jokes.
May I?
Yes.
Jurassic Park because it's a perfect one-off in a mediocre franchise.
Yeah.
And also Sam Neill is there.
I'll do the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that?
Yeah,
It's like, wait.
because his thing, he's so funny in that. And
Just
has
a
that
smidge.
a shining light in an already funny movie that I enjoyed, but still.
All right. Yeah.
Goldblum.
Yeah, that works.
Oh man,
No,
Ray Fiennes can
shit.
get it.
Sorry. I was gonna say Independence Day, and then I was gonna say Jurassic Park. So You got me back for taking your quote. So I'm gonna say Hideaway, motherfuckers, because I loved that movie when I was a kid, and I don't care if it holds up.
I don't even know that movie.
And it's an awesome movie. It's it's probably not, but I really remember it being an awesome movie.
Pirate movie.
Jeff Goldblum's not in that, but because I really enjoyed Hideaway, and because you guys took my other answers.
That's the best reasoning ever. So I was going to say what's coming up next week, but I honestly have no clue because I don't know when this one's coming out.
Be a better moderator, jeez.
You know what? I'm getting a lot of things done in a very little amount of time, so people can be patient.
I'm making life.
Yeah, I know. And
And
I'm making podcasts.
keeps
Same
kicking
difference.
I don't know sometimes if I need to fart or if I'm just getting kicked.
Nice.
So
That is. Yep, that's right. From what I've,
Pregnancy, everybody.
yeah.
Do not want.
So, final round of plugs here. Check us out, athpod.com. You can find us on iTunes, where you should rate and review us. We'd greatly appreciate it. We're also supposedly going to be on Spotify here at some point, according to our hosting service, but they never said when. And yeah, that's it for me. Anybody else something to plug?
I just realized Hideaway is actually really about victimizing women, so maybe I shouldn't have picked that.
So, no plug for Hideaway. Chewie, anything to plug?
Superstar.
There you go. I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a new Grinch trailer out this week, which won't be this week by the time you're listening to this podcast. But, you know. If
The
you
movie will
like,
already be out by the time.
Yeah, if you like
Hopefully
Benedict
not.
Cumberbatch's American accent as Doctor Strange, you're crazy. But you
Yeah,
might
it's
like
not
his
great.
American accent as the Grinch, which is slightly better.
It's definitely better.
It's Illumination's prettiest movie. There, I'll say something positive.
There we go.
There we go.
All right, so thank you, Sam, for coming out for I don't even know how many weeks in a row at this point. What is it, 3, 4?
3 weeks.
Three?
Yeah.
Nice.
5 episodes.
3
I'm
weeks,
happy
Gunning
to-
for my job.
Yep.
No, I'm just their booby call.
And that's it. Bye.
Bye.